Have you any decent pictures for the break?
Great picture.
Oh, really? Okay, good. Because I was too afraid they were too far away. And,
Oh, yeah. You
but
save the next one.
because I wanted to get some background in,
Yeah.
so I was like,
Yeah, they were great. Thank you. They're great. You know,
You're good.
here are we ready?
Yeah.
Correct.
Go right ahead.
Cool. So, tell us about your trip.
It was wonderful. There were 14 of us total from the church, Holy Spirit, and we left last weekend, and we got there on Saturday, and it was a long drive, so everyone was worn out, but the next day we were ready to start working and had a wonderful time. We installed 12 stoves. We donated 2 beds to families and 4 food baskets, and we worked on a construction project. We built probably about a 11 by 11 room for a family in need that needed it desperately. So we were very busy all week long. It was great.
And when you say you built 12 stoves, for me or for us, when we say building a stove, you think of, well, it's not that big of a deal, right?
Right, yeah. The families there, they cook on the ground with wood, and it's basically, their homes are so small that they are sleeping right next to where their fire is, and it's terrible to breathe those fumes in constantly. So we build these concrete block stoves that not only is much better health-wise, it saves them money on their wood. It lasts much, much longer. So.
And does it keep their homes warm as well as they cook on it? Or is it just mainly for cooking?
It could keep them warm, and what it really does is it helps out on the air quality, because these people are literally, there's no chimney. They're cooking on the floor in a little tin hut, and there's no chimney. So all the smoke is in there. So the air quality is really, really important on these stoves. And then, of course, they literally scavenge the hills and try to find wood to heat and cook with. And this uses like only 25% of the wood that you'd normally use. So it's a huge, huge deal for them, because it just makes their lives a lot easier and healthier.
Yeah, and the stove has like an aluminum tube that comes from the top of it, and you poke a hole in the tin roof, and then the smoke goes out.
Chimneys out, yeah.
So
And
it's really helpful.
and you bring the materials? Where does it all start?
Mayan Families has it all set up for you, so when you drive to the home, everything's already there, and you just have to set it up when you get there.
So
Or
they-
haul it up a
Yeah.
steep jungle
So
incline.
You
know.
don't really know exactly how many stoves you're going to be making or what exactly you're going to be doing until you get there, and then Mayan Family.
Well, once we raise enough money, we kind of talk about it with our group and decide how many stoves we want to do, how many beds we want to do, and
And then I contacted them and said, okay, these are our funds. This is what we want to do. Can you kind of give us a itinerary?
Okay.
And they sent that to us, and then we kind of tweaked it,
and we
That's
can
how it
pick the
began.
village that we want to do it in, and then they'll choose a family in that village that is in need of a new stove or bed.
And where did all this start?
Well, what gave us the urge to help people is when we adopted Antonio 12 years ago. We had never been there. We went there to bring him home and pick him up. We fell in love with it. We were like, we want to give back. We've received such an amazing gift, so we want to give back to this amazing country. So that's kind of where it started, and we've been going ever since.
Okay.
So, and the way I found Mayan Families was, I was there on a mission trip with a group of ladies, and the leader of that group took us to Panajachel to work with Mayan Families, and that's how I was introduced to this organization. So, fell in love with it because they totally help the families there with health, education, shelter. They do it all.
So Mayan Families is a nonprofit?
501c3, yeah. Founded in 2007 by Sharon Smart. She's an amazing lady. She's from Australia, and they just started by helping. There was a really bad flood and mudslides and things, and they just started by helping of one child, and then it just kind of it just went from there, and they built an incredible organization that so Guatemala is a beautiful country. There's 33 volcanoes, and 13 of them are still active. There was one in the news that they saw when they were down there called Fuego, and it literally just erupted. But it's a beautiful country. But the indigenous people are the Mayans, and the Mayan Indians, and they have like 60 different dialects of Mayan. So when they go into the villages, they're not only taking somebody from Mayan families that can speak Spanish, but they're also taking a translator that can speak whatever dialect of Mayan that you're going into as well. But these families are very, very poor. It's a third world country, but Mayan Families has helped. They started with children and preschool programs and things like that, but now it's in Panajachel, they've got this whole compound where they're teaching trades and skills like sewing and carpentry and masonry, and it's just taken off from there, and they're making a huge impact on everything they're doing down there.
And so that it sounds like kind of sustainable living.
It is, yeah, exactly. And teaching people, first of all, getting them in school, because one of the biggest problems is these children they have to go work in the hillsides, and it's a huge agriculture, from coffee just to growing things, just to sell at the local market is how they sustain themselves, and so these kids get pulled out of school and they never even get the opportunity to. And Mayan Families is going in and helping all that, keeping those kids in school.
It's giving them the opportunity that they never would have had.
So that
we
they're
do
not
here
just
that our children take for granted.
Yeah.
And so families, and one of the things that we appreciate from you doing this is families can adopt a child and send them to school.
Sponsor.
And so, Natalie, for you, how old are you?
I'm 17.
You're 17. So when you go down there, do you ever think about how your life would be, or had you been born there as compared to your life here? What does the average 17-year-old girl in that village do?
They're probably not going to school. They're at home. Some of them already have children that they're having to take care of, and they're just, making their weavings or their jewelry that they're selling, and they can't go to school, so they've already started their lives.
They don't really have a childhood.
No.
They're taking care of their siblings, basically. That's what they're doing.
While somebody goes to work. And what does that, you're obviously drawn to that mission, that calling, and what does that feel like to get down there and experience that?
It's so rewarding because, you're helping someone be able to go to school that normally wouldn't have the money to. And, we have 2 sponsored students that we get to see every year, and to see them grow and to be able to feed them every month is just awesome. And being able to see that impact when we go is unbelievable.
Also, we don't have to pay for school here, but they do there. So that's another reason why sponsoring a child is so important. Because if you sponsor a child, they are able to go to school, and that's a huge gift there.
And when someone sponsors a child, do they have contact with that child, or does the child send a letter, or the Mayan Families to let the families know?
Once a month, the Mayan Families will send you a picture of them, and then if you want to give them food once a month, they'll send you a picture with them with their food basket. And then they'll also send you their report card, and then they'll send you a letter that they make when they come in the office every month.
That's great. Yeah.
So it helps you feel connected to that child.
And
It really does.
you know that they're getting what they need when they send you those pictures.
Yeah. Well, we were fortunate to have that opportunity, and when you sent us the picture of Alexander, and he's maybe 4?
Yeah, he's in preschool.
And we shared the picture with our kids, and they thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
And so I think, I didn't know how often we would get a picture or some kind of update, but I think that, it's really neat for us to see, but I think it'll be really touching for our kids to be a part of this.
And next year when everybody goes down there together, that you get to see, you get to go visit Alexander, go to where he lives, and meet him and his
family.
parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, whomever, because they live in such a tight-knit community, and you'll get to see exactly how it is. And it's amazing because now Natalie and Wendy, and I've been a couple times to see these children as they're growing up, and and they're still there, and they remember you, and they're so happy to see you, and they're just literally rolling out the red carpet in every way they can to give you anything they will give you off the shirt off their back, literally. And they don't have anything, but they'll give you anything. It's amazing.
What's it like for you, Nick, to see Wendy certainly, but Natalie? I mean, your wife and your daughter to go experience and serve.
I was so happy this week when they were down there. Just it made my heart really, really overflow, because just to have that servant's attitude at 17 or even at 47 or 48 is amazing, And,
45.
yeah. But we take things for granted in life so much, and it's so easy to get caught in the stream of just everyday life, and then that's just a reality check down there. And to know that these two led that group from our church down there and planned it and executed. I mean, there's a lot of logistics in going. You're going to a third world country, and it's not number 3, there's 4 levels of threat, and the State Department says number 4, you don't go there. Number 3 is we advise you not to go there, and Guatemala is a level 3. So there's a lot involved in planning, but it is very safe because of the thorough. You have escorts and drivers and everything else, and it's an amazing thing. But I'm very proud of them. So it's cool things.
You all had that opportunity, but you gave that opportunity to 12 other people.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
which was
Which is
great.
really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to say that it has impacted. It's just so cool to see how much it's impacted Natalie, because she's totally chosen her career path just from these experiences.
Really?
I mean, she's decided to major in Spanish. She wants to work for a nonprofit.
Good for you.
This has totally impacted her, and I'm just so proud of her. I really am. She's got a gift. You can see it when she's there.
I saw the pictures, and she's got a gift.
Yeah.
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 You know what I love about it is I love when anybody does their thing, whatever that thing is,
Yeah.
and that's your thing. And when
Yes.
that thing
Yeah.
it's surrounded by serving others, I just think that's what we're called to do, and it's so awesome to see that.
Yeah.
And what's it like for you to experience that with your mom?
Oh, it's awesome because we both have such a passion for it. I mean, it's her gift too because, she loves it that much too. And so it's just awesome being able to share that together every time we go down there. And being able to bring people that have never been there before was awesome to be able to see their...
You can't even express it in words. How to share that gift with...
You're so excited to give them that opportunity.
It's just so exciting. And to see their expression for the first time. And just to, you just want them to feel what you felt the very first time. So, and I think they did.
Yeah.
So.
That's, I always say a 359 is great, but creating or helping someone achieve their 359, that's beyond special, and that's what you're doing. That's really cool. And you're no stranger to 359, right? Oh, the first 359. I don't know about that one.
I jumped out of an airplane. You're crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy. And so you take this recognition of need. You recognized a need, and you literally just picked it up and ran with it. You've put together mission trips to bring other people to a third world country to help people who need basic needs met.
Yeah.
And where do you start with that? What in your mind clicks off that says, I need to do that, and here's how I'm going to do it?
Well, just, like I was saying earlier, I just want to give back so badly. We do, all of us have such a passion for it. And then Natalie is so good at, she gets this from Nick, she's just like, let's do it, let's go. I'm more of like, all right, let me think about it, let me just soak it in, process it. But she said, Mom, let's do it. So I said, all right, we're doing it. So we just took charge and worked on it hard, and now we know we can do it. So.
And what do you think about Antonio? Like later on down the road, he probably doesn't appreciate it. Like he could or should, but once he's 10 years down the road,
Well, yeah, and
he
that's
might hopefully
good point,
realize
Claire.
what you've done.
Yeah, I mean, I think that really was maybe the thread that started the whole thing.
Oh,
because
definitely by far.
here we have a 6-month-old baby boy from Guatemala that we just adopted, and he's got two, brother and a sister older than him. How are we gonna? This little guy has got coffee-colored skin. He doesn't look like us. He's in a totally different culture. He came from a third world country. How are we gonna keep that passion of what's beautiful about Guatemala alive in him? So that's really why we first started going down and visiting Guatemala more. It was just to try to keep that culture and that thing. I mean, we found a person here, Vanessa, his madrina, who was on the trip this week, who's actually Antonio's godmother, that is from Guatemala, just to try to keep that. And she lives here locally. But trying to do that is kind of one of the motivating factors that kind of started the whole thing. And then after Wendy started going down there more and more, then the ball just started rolling down the hill and kept getting bigger. And then you find amazing organizations like Mayan Families who's got it figured out, and they're making a huge impact on people's lives, on these indigenous people's lives. And it just kind of keeps compounding and keeps getting bigger.
And tell me the story about Antonio's siblings. He had siblings, has siblings.
He does. We adopted Antonio and brought him home, and then about 10 months later, the adoption agency that we worked with out of Kansas called and said his older sister has been put up for adoption. Would you be interested? And we said, heck yes, we definitely. So we were in that process for about 10 months. We traveled down there. We brought Grant and Natalie with us. We thought the transition would be easier since she was older. She was 6 at the time. And so we went down there a couple times. Nick and I went probably 3 or 4 times. And about 10 months into the process, the birth mother decided that she changed her mind. So while all of that was going on, we found out that Antonio also had a younger brother. So, and we were able to keep track of him. He was moved several different orphanages, but we were able to keep track of him. Just until last year, we lost contact with him because he was adopted by a family in Guatemala. So we have no way of figuring out where he went or with who because of they can't give out that information. So we just have to pray that they're both okay and safe.
The great thing is we got to meet 2 of his brother, one of his biological half sister and half brother. So, and we have a personal relationship with them. So, and he does too. And maybe someday we can find him.
Yeah.
Nice.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, we pray for that. Yeah.
So what's it look like going forward? What's the future?
Well, we are on fire. We are excited, and our goal is to take 2 trips next year.
Is that right?
2 groups.
You up for that, Natalie?
Oh yeah. Yes.
They've already informed me that they will be in Guatemala for a month, and I can come as long as I want, or Antonio and I can come as long as we want and not. But they're going to lead 2 trips and go down for about a month.
That's what our goal is.
Now you're in school. You're normal's not the right word, but you are a family here in Bowling Green, working, raising kids. 2 mission trips in the summer. And is that just where does that fit in? How does that fit in? Or do you just make it fit in?
That's what my top priority is, helping these people, and it makes my family happy. So that's what
We'll fit it in.
we'll fit it in.
We'll fit it in.
You only have to have 1 plane flight, right? Round trip.
That's right.
You stay there the whole
That's
month.
right. Yeah.
So you'll do similar trips next year?
Same
itinerary, same.
Same type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll just rotate 2 groups in, maybe.
Yeah.
And a lot of different options, though. You can get into far more physical work, like construction work, like a Habitat Humanity house.
Because that's part of it. Some of it's just physical, getting your hands dirty,
big
building.
time, yeah.
This was our first time building. We usually just do the stoves and the water filters and the beds and the food baskets. This was our first time doing the construction, and we really enjoyed it. And I think the group loved it too, because you really worked hard. You could
It's
see
tangible.
the family.
I could see on the video it was
So-
almost like an assembly line too.
It
Yes,
Just
it
all
was.
worked together.
It was all
carried a bucket.
It was a
the
team.
next-
Team effort.
Well, and they were building a bathroom, which these people had no bathroom. I mean, they literally had nothing, and a little bathroom and a shower, right?
Yeah, and the families were just so grateful for, it really touched everyone when the mom was thanking us and she was, crying that
Yeah.
she's never had electricity and she's never had running water.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
now, with us building this room for her, she will get electricity and she'll get running water.
And how much would that cost?
To build that room,
It was about,
it's $3,800,
Well, so that's not cheap.
which the help from Holy Spirit parishioners made that happen, and we're so
Yeah.
thankful for that.
Gotcha.
So
Holy Spirit and the Knights of Columbus
Mhm.
really stepped up huge, and
Mhm.
individuals. There's certain things like the stove is $189. I mean, but that makes a huge impact. So you can do a
Mhm.
lot of those. And,
Mhm.
the group self raised about $5,000 or $6,000. Then they raised several more $1,000s through Holy Spirit and through Knights of Columbus and through just generous donations from like Suzanne
We
Ogawa and other people that just donated money.
yeah, our total group cost, we raised about $7,800, and then out of our 14 people, we sponsored a total of 10 kids, which is awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that's sponsored for school for the year.
yes,
And that's $360 for the year.
It is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or you don't even have to do that. You could just give a food basket a month to a family. That's $40. I mean, you could kind of choose your,
Yeah.
your cost and
Yeah.
see what it goes.
$40 a month or $40?
$40 a month gives a a pretty good sized food basket to a family a month. So
And so if somebody wants to help, whether they want to come and get their hands dirty
right.
or
Or sponsor
Donate
or
or
donate
whatever.
or whatever. Yeah. Just go to mayanfamilies.org. They have a great website, and you can it gives a list of prices and items that you can pay for and donate.
But if you're interested in going on a mission trip like this with two kind of getting to be experts here
Yeah.
and plugging into Mayan Families, which is an incredible organization, just need to contact Wendy and Natalie, and it sounds like they've got 2 trips lined up.
Sounds what's the favorite part?
Oh gosh, that's hard to
My
answer.
favorite part, 3 favorite parts.
3 favorite. What's your 3 favorite parts?
I've already thought about it.
was building that room for that family that desperately needed it, and her just thanking us. It really,
Oh.
touched us. And then second was coming back and visiting our sponsored students that we get to see every year and get to see grow. And the third was just showing everyone that hasn't been there before and
It's
just
gotta be
seeing how they
rewarding.
feel, and it really felt good to do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would say my favorite part is just spreading the love there. It's amazing how one hug can help somebody there. They do the same thing day in and day out and work so hard and have nothing. And they're so happy. And it's just amazing to be a part of that. It really is to help them. So,
Wendy, what's the hardest part? What's the hardest part of going down there? Or what's the hardest part of coming home?
well, the hardest part of coming home is just leaving. I want to live there. But the hardest part, I would say, is to see the struggle and to see how much we take for granted. We really, really do.
They don't know life like we know life.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
So that's what's really hard.
What about you, Natalie? What's the hardest part?
Just seeing, like we dread going to school, and we don't want to wake up to go to school, but they don't even really get the chance to go to school when they have to work. So just taking stuff for granted. I mean, we should never do that here because they don't even get the chance to do that sometimes.
Great
One of your
perspective.
hardest parts is leaving all those little kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leaving those hugs.
Mhm.
Yeah. They just are like a magnet to Natalie too. Those kids adore her, and it's so fun to see, to step aside and see that.
And that's got to be great as a mother or father,
Yeah. It
or
is.
just as a human being to recognize a gift
Mm-hmm.
and to really see it shine and
It's awesome.
help other people.
Yeah.
What about you, Nick? What if you had to put your finger on the secret sauce? What's from an emotional point of view?
I think that I talk about this often, but it's boiling things down to the lowest common denominators, the stuff that's really the essence of life, you know, the things that really, really mean something. I think a trip like this instantly does that to you because you throws you in a place that is beautiful but tragic and just all these different elements, but it boils it down to because these people are the happiest people. I mean, and this, you could do this in the streets of the United States of America too, right? So there's not, you don't have to go to a third world country to do this. You could go to Appalachia, or you could go to downtown Nashville. You're probably underneath a bridge of I-65 in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and you could probably spread the same kind of thing. But it's putting yourself in the position to do that, and then which boils it all down to the lowest common denominators. And I think that's the secret sauce. And stripping away and not getting caught in life and busyness and, you know, work and So.
You know, Nick is always saying, be where your feet are. I can go there and be totally where my feet are. That's one place that I just love to just soak it in. Natalie and I, we always laugh and joke because it's so beautiful there, and we always say, all right, this is our last day. Soaking, soaking, soaking. We've got it.
Great. So has the countdown started to the next trip?
Yeah. What we love about planning these trips too is it keeps us connected all year round.
It does.
Because we have to plan and
We'll start
you know,
planning in October again. You know, getting the word out at church. You know, okay, who's up for the next trip? You know,
Forget with it, huh? What I remember you telling us that the kids go to school. I don't remember until what time, but then they're out in the fields until late at night. They don't have time to do their homework.
Yeah,
they're up late doing their homework.
Yeah, usually their school schedule is from like 7 to 11 in the morning, and then you get the afternoon off, or some go like 4 to 6 at night. So usually it's just half day. So they're usually working
because
the other
they have
half
to
of the
work.
day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's if you live in a city. If you live in these rural
Yeah.
pueblos, it's different than that. I mean, a lot of them never go to school,
Yeah.
right? And they're working. These little 6-7-year-old boys are working in the field, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when
Picking
we go
weeds and
on
plowing.
our mission trip with you guys, we want our kids to go out there in the field and
Yeah,
have to experience
That's a great
absolutely.
you know, what those kids are experiencing.
Understand it's more than just Fortnite and
Exactly.
Yeah.
sit on the couch and sleeping in.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're in. Are we in, dude?
I'm excited.
We're in.
We don't want to take anybody's space. If you've got enough, great.
No, you're going
We're-
this year. Yeah, you guys are going this year. Or
Right
next
before the
year.
Grand Canyon.
There you go.
That's September, by the way.
Yeah, I like that. September.
Yeah, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. And what about, was there any experience from any people who were there, any feedback or any kind of that just reaction that you saw from them that you just thought, that's it?
Yeah. I bet Natalie will agree with me on this, but when that mom spoke when we were building that room and she spoke and she was crying, I think there probably wasn't too much of a dry eye during that time. I mean, she was so heartfelt and so thankful that
To put it in perspective, it's $3,800, and let's say there's a little bit of overhead in that. So let's just say it's $3,000 of the true cost to build this thing. That's like 5 or 6 years, income, if that, probably more. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. But there's an incredible documentary called $1 a Day, and it's about Guatemala. And these 4 college students go down there and live on the average income, which is $1 a day. And they live that way for I don't know how many months, and I highly suggest you watch it. It's amazing.
I made our group watch it before we went.
So the investment of electricity and water and a building that's only 10 by 10 is literally changed probably a couple generations of these people's
How many people
lives.
living in that house?
There were 2 little boys.
There were 6.
Yeah.
And how long did she
Three
know
long.
that she was going to get this? She was going to receive this room?
I think we said that we would do it like a month before. So
Yeah.
And Mayan Families does a really good job of taking inventory of the needs of the region, right? So they're just not in one city. They're this mountain, this area, and they have these little pueblos, and they're keeping track of food needs, and from elderly feeding and nutrition to all the way down to the bottom of preschools, and what are the needs of our people. So anytime if you say, hey, we want to do a mattress, a bed, which is a big deal because they're all sleep. Those 6
On the
people are
floor.
sleeping on the ground, dirt, nothing, maybe a mat if they're lucky. They know who needs a bed. So Mayan Families is very efficient when you want to go in and help, and they know who needs a stove and how a stove is. It's just not this random thing. They do a really nice job with it.
What was the age range of the people who went with you on this trip?
We had all ages. We had 3 teenagers, and then we had some that were in their later 60s. So, it's really a trip for everyone.
Yeah.
And did you go to the same village or different village or same area but different?
Same area, but different
Yeah.
ones.
Mayan Families is in Panacho, which is on a lake, and there's about 12 villages around this lake, and you can just pick and choose which ones you want to go to and see. So usually every day we tried to go to a different place to show everyone different places.
One of the most beautiful places in the world. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the deepest lake, the 4th deepest lake in the world, 1,200 foot deep, and it's got this is the lake, and it's got 3 volcanoes. Literally, is the edge
surrounding it. Yeah.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
Majestic.
So you're in this beautiful place with extreme poverty.
Exactly. At 5,000 feet in elevation, you're up in the mountains. So it's incredible.
Awesome.
You'll be able to see it next year.
I think we're signed up.
Sunday.
Let's go. We're in.
All right.
Cool. Well, we're proud of you,
Thanks.
and we're thrilled that you do your thing, and we just can't say enough about you, and we'll support you any way we can.
Thanks.
Good stuff. I'll take some of that from you. Cool. Anything we didn't touch on that?
I'd like to just pull Antonio in here and let him put his arm around here and just say,
How
hey,
about
would you do that?
anything else on Mayan Families or getting into, would that run
I
across?
think we can put the website up and
Okay.
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
I would love to get to Antonio in here and
I text him.
No, I'm gonna go get him. I mean, just to say hi, just like hey.
Yeah, that would be good.
well, if he's comfortable with any discussion, happy to do that as well.
You all will never believe who called me while we were interviewing.
Father Jerry!
Yep.
Well, Jerry called you.
Yeah.
Do you know that's his uncle?
Yeah,
Yeah, I told
yeah,
them.
they
I
told
love that.
Yeah, maybe you
What's
could
up, man?
Have you met
ask him
Sam
how
yet?
he feels about
Alright.
this.
Hey, Vito,
Yeah.
this is Father Jerry's
Sam.
Uncle Sam.
Come on in.
Hey, just
Vito.
come over there, stand by. We're gonna take a
We're gonna talk about Fortnite. What do you think about the new the new places and?
They're good.
Hey, did you do the rocket thing the other day?
Well, yeah.
Was that like 12:30? What was that?
6 again.
Yeah, 12:30.
12:30 on Sunday.
What is it?
Oh,
It's a Fortnite thing, right?
Nick, you gotta get
Oh, my
in.
God. Now, are you into the headphones and all that too?
Antonio,
I use buds.
you were headphones.
Hey, show them your. We just went to a
wait,
slumber
wait.
party the other night.
It makes a difference because you can hear things from the right or things from the left.
Antonio, when's the last time you went down to Guatemala?
2 years ago, I think.
And what do you think about your mom and Natalie going to
I
the
think it's
country?
fine.
Yeah, to the country you were born in. You know, does it touch your heart that they go and help? That they go and help your people?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that something you ever want to do, Antonio?
What?
Have you been back to Guatemala?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah. What's that like going home for you?
It's honestly amazing to see all my people again.
Yeah. And when I say going home, I guess, well, this is home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was born here, but his home's right here.
Yeah.
But if you like, what's your favorite part of going down to Guatemala?
Like seeing all the sights, like seeing like all the places and like the landscape pretty much.
We
Yeah.
hear,
Beautiful.
We hear the lake is beautiful and the volcanoes around it.
One of my favorite pictures of all time. These two are out
Yeah.
in a two-man kayak out in the lake, and Antonio and I are on this really high dock, and there's two
Just in
volcanoes.
Guatemala?
behind us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he and I jump off this thing. We're in the air like this, and the volcanoes are in the background.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was incredible. Yeah.
Awesome. Do they have Fortnite down there?
I don't know.
I guess you don't want to go and stay there for too long because you'll miss out on Fortnite. Huh?
There's a little Wi-Fi in the.
The Wi-Fi in the hotel's a little sketchy.
That wouldn't work. No lagging, right? Can't have any lagging. So do you keep up with any of the, like when they go down there? You guys stayed here, right?
Yeah.
You guys were here. So did you? Can you FaceTime from there? What's
We
the
do
communication?
FaceTime. It's a little, you know, sometimes it's better than others, but yeah, we do. We FaceTime.
We talked to them every night, and of course kept up on pictures and things that they were
Yeah.
sending.
Nice.
Yeah.
So,
And how close in age are the kids that you sponsor or who you sponsor to Antonio's age?
We sponsor a 9-year-old and then a 7-year-old. So
Okay.
yeah.
So
And
it's-
Antonio's met them both. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
We've been talking about like not taking things for granted, like school. You want to weigh in on that subject?
We're thinking about taking our kids to Guatemala next summer to
Oh, really?
experience a mission trip. Yeah, maybe.
think they should do that.
Yeah, I think they should.
Yeah.
It's funny, Antonio, because all these kids have gotten to know them. Now they're Natalie's age, but we've
Yeah.
known them since they're little.
Yeah.
And Antonio comes down with us, and he is, for his age, this
Taller,
much taller
bigger.
than
Do
everybody
you think
else.
nutrition is
Yes.
part of that?
Totally.
Yeah.
It just shows you that, what
Mhm.
nutrition does mean,
Wow.
because he is physically larger than anybody his age there.
Yeah.
Taller, just the whole 9 yards. It's amazing, actually, because you guess that some of these kids are a lot younger than they are.
And it's really cute too because he went 2 years ago, and when we were there last week, some of our friends that are Natalie's age, they said, "Where's Antonio? How is he?" They're asking.
Oh,
so-
they're looking for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So will you go next year?
Yes.
Well,
Oh, good. Well, we'll have to go at the same time.
yeah.
Hang
Cool.
out.
Well, thanks for coming down and seeing us.
Thanks.
Is there anything, Antonio? Is there anything about Guatemala that, for someone who's never been, for going down there and doing the work that your mom and sister do?
Yeah.
What would you tell us to expect?
It just helps the people out, like live a better life, pretty much.
Do they seem very poor to you?
What?
Do they seem very poor to you, the people there?
Yes, I think they do.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Hey, do you ever play CS:GO, or you just do Fortnite?
Fortnite.
Just
I
Fortnite.
heard about.
Now, what is CS:GO? I don't get that. What is that?
It's just another.
But is it on Xbox?
PC
Or is it-
gaming, I think.
Oh, it's a total different
Yeah,
game
it's on the
system.
computer.
Okay.
Do you play CS?